I drove 6 hours to surprise my dad with courtside Lakers tickets, but at dinner, he mocked me as a disappointment. I took back the gift, left, and watched his world crumble quietly. This morning, he called me 67 times, then his boss called too. I drove 6 hours straight, not even stopping for coffee. I rehearsed the surprise in my head 100 times, how I'd walk in, hand my dad the envelope with the gold-foiled ticket folder, and watch his face light up when he saw the seats. Courtside at the Lakers finals, no less. It was his dream as a lifelong fan. He used to talk about it like it was a fantasy, something he'd never afford, something only real men could experience. Well, I became a real man, apparently. I built a business from nothing, took every freelance gig I could, worked through illness and burnout. Now, for the first time in our strained relationship, I wanted to give him something that said, "I remember every time you drove me to practice. I remember those nights we watched the games with the sound down so Mom could sleep." I wanted to give back. Big mistake. Dinner was supposed to be simple, just close family, a small cake, his favorite steak, and that surprise. I gave him the tickets before dessert, slid the envelope across the table, and watched as he opened it slowly, eyebrows furrowing in confusion before shooting up in disbelief. "No way," he muttered. I smiled. "Courtside," he said louder, showing the tickets to everyone like they were medals. The room buzzed. My uncle clapped me on the back, my mom looked surprised, and my cousin asked, "Are these real?" I just nodded, letting myself enjoy the first genuine smile I'd seen on my dad's face in years. Then came the toast. He raised his glass, still holding the tickets in the other hand, and said with a grin, "To my son, still a disappointment, but hey, at least he's rich now." The laughter that followed was loud but cold. My cousin snorted wine through his nose. My uncle chuckled and muttered just loud enough for me to hear, "Luxury gifts don't make up for being a loser." Something inside me froze. I looked around the table. No one seemed to think anything was wrong, not even my mom. I didn't say a word. I stood up, reached across the table, and took the envelope back from my father's hand. His grin faltered. "What are you doing?" he asked. "You made your point," I said. "Consider the gift retracted." And I left, walked out to my car, shaking but calm, drove off into the night with my jaw locked and my heart caving in on itself. By the time I woke up this morning, he had called me 67 times. Then my phone rang again, this time an unfamiliar number. "Hello, this is Mr. Lambert," the voice said. "I'm your father's boss. We need to talk." I wasn't always rich. I wasn't even close. 3 years ago, I was crashing on a mattress in a moldy apartment above a barbershop, eating ramen 5 nights a week, juggling 3 part-time gigs just to survive. I didn't have connections, no startup capital, just me, my laptop, and a drive that came from years of being told I was nothing. "You always quit too soon," my dad told me after I dropped out of college. "You never finish anything." He didn't ask why I left, didn't ask about the panic attacks, the debt, the way I'd wake up every day praying I didn't fail another class. He just saw me as weak. My brother, Todd, golden boy, degree in finance, internship at a hedge fund, wedding in Tuscany, was the star. Me, the dropout. The disappointment. When I launched my own business, a small consulting agency, I didn't even tell him at first. What was the point? I already knew how the conversation would go. "You a CEO?" he would scoff. "Of what, a lemonade stand?" And yet, month after month, year after year, my agency grew, slowly, painfully. I made every mistake in the book, but I learned, hustled, sacrificed until finally things started clicking, a contract with a mid-size brand, then another, then one viral post and boom, clients I'd only dreamed of. Suddenly, I could afford a new car, a better apartment, a vacation. That's when they started noticing me again. My dad's first compliment in years? "Looks like you finally figured out how not to screw everything up." He laughed like it was a joke. I didn't. Still, I kept trying. Maybe some part of me still wanted him to be proud. I paid off their mortgage last year, quietly, just wired the money and told Mom to check the balance. She cried. He said, "That's the least you could do after all we've put into you." "Put into me? You mean the years of sarcasm, emotional neglect, and being the family's punchline?" Let me tell you something about growing up in our house. My dad didn't hit, he humiliated. He tore you down with a smile, made every achievement feel like a fluke. "You got lucky," he'd say. "Don't get cocky." And my Uncle Tom, the one who whispered that insult at dinner, he was always worse. The man hasn't held a job longer than a year in his life. He spent more time drunk in our garage than I spent in high school. But because he was Dad's brother, he was always invited, always respected. You know what my father used to call me when I started freelancing? Laptop Larry. It was funny to everyone at Sunday barbecues. "Oh look, there's Larry with his screen again. Let us real men talk about real jobs." I remember one night I brought over a bottle of decent whiskey, a small celebration after I landed a 5-figure deal. Uncle Tom snorted, spinning like a baller now, huh? You sure you didn't scam someone? My dad just laughed and added, he probably made a slideshow about feelings and charged $10,000 for it. They never asked what I actually did, never asked who my clients were, never asked what it took to get here. But you know what they did ask for? Money. Endless favors. Can you spot me for car repairs? Your cousin needs help with tuition. We're short on the house taxes, just this once. Always wrapped in guilt, always with the same line, family helps family. Except when I needed help, they weren't there. When I had to pawn my guitar to make rent, no one returned my texts. When I skipped meals to pay off my student loans, they called me dramatic. When I broke down crying in the garage one Christmas, thinking maybe I was a failure, my dad walked in, saw me and said, "Man up, no one likes a sob story." And now I'm the bank with a face, a walking ATM with just enough success to be tolerated again. But I still believed, stupidly, that maybe things were different now, that maybe I'd earned his respect. That's why I bought those Lakers tickets, $8,000, courtside for him. Because I remembered the old photos of him in his high school jersey, the stories of how he used to sneak a radio into his bedroom to listen to the finals. Because, despite everything, I thought maybe this would be the moment. Maybe this time he'd look at me the way he looked at Todd. But all I got was the joke's punchline. Still a disappointment, but hey, at least he's rich now. That one sentence burned more than every insult I'd swallowed for 30 years. And the kicker? When I took the tickets back, no one said a word. Not Mom, not even Todd. Like it made sense. Like I had overreacted. Like I wasn't allowed to finally stand up for myself. But the phone calls this morning told a different story. 67 missed calls from Dad, 5 from Mom, 12 from Todd, and then a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Mr. Lambert, your father's supervisor at Westfield Automotive. He's asked that I speak with you urgently. What is going on?" The call from Mr. Lambert came at 9:17 a.m. At first, I thought it was a prank. Who gets a call from their father's boss over courtside tickets? But the voice on the other end was all business. "Your father is having a difficult morning," he said carefully. "He came into work extremely upset, mentioning something about a family issue. He refused to go into detail but asked me to call you and mediate." "Mediate what?" I asked. "A situation involving Lakers tickets." I almost laughed. He sent his boss to do damage control. There was a pause. He said he was too ashamed to call again, that he screwed everything up, Mr. Lambert said. His words. I hung up. 5 minutes later, my mom called. "Your father didn't sleep all night," she said without so much as a hello. "He was crying." That stopped me. "My father crying? He's not well. He's talking about losing everything. He said you're about to ruin his life." "Ruin his life? How? Because I didn't let him insult me and keep the tickets?" "Because you threatened to go public," she whispered, voice trembling. "I never... What are you talking about?" "He thinks you're going to humiliate him, that you're going to make this into some public story. He said people are already talking." Then it hit me. He wasn't ashamed of hurting me, he was scared of being seen for who he really is. That was when I made the decision. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to his job. I didn't care about the fallout. I wanted him to see my face when I said what I was about to say. I walked into the Westfield Automotive showroom like a man walking into a fire. The receptionist looked startled. "I'm here to see Bill." Her eyes flicked toward the office down the hall. "He's with someone." "Not anymore," I said and pushed the door open. My dad was sitting at his desk, pale, hunched forward, a cup of coffee shaking slightly in his hand. He looked up, and for a moment I thought he might collapse. "Jesus, you came," he muttered. I closed the door behind me and stood. "You called your boss," I said flatly. "I panicked," he said. "I thought maybe if he could talk to you." "Talk me into what? Giving you the tickets back? Apologizing for standing up for myself?" "I didn't mean what I said," he blurted. "It was a joke, a bad one. I was nervous. Everyone was looking at me. You've had 33 years of practice making me the butt of your jokes, Dad. Don't act like this was new." He looked away, silent. "I gave you something priceless," I continued, "and you turned it into a punchline. And when I walked away, you didn't chase after me. You just sat there. I didn't know what to say. You never do. But you always know how to hurt." Then he said it. The thing I will never forget. "You think this makes you strong, walking away? You're still that scared little boy who couldn't throw a ball right, just richer now." I walked up to his desk and leaned in. "No," I said. "I'm the man who built something from nothing while you sat in that chair and mocked me. I'm the man who bought your house, paid off your debt, and bought you the dream night of your life. And I'm also the man who took it back because you never once acted like I mattered outside of what I could give you." "You're twisting everything," he said, voice shaking. "No, I'm saying it clearly." Then the door opened, Mr. Lambert was there, looking mortified. "Is everything okay?" he asked. I turned to him. "Mr. Lambert," I said calmly, "you should know something about the man you have managing this place. He treats everyone around him like trash unless they're useful to him. His son buys him a gift that would take most people years to afford, and he toasts to him as a disappointment. He's lucky I'm not a journalist. He'd be trending by now." My dad lunged up from his chair. "Don't you dare embarrass me like this." I raised a hand. "You embarrassed yourself." The room went dead quiet. I looked him dead in the eyes. "You want to be treated like a man? Then act like one. You want my respect? Then earn it. But don't ever call me again to clean up the messes you made." I turned and walked out. As I left, I saw Mr. Lambert put a hand on my dad's shoulder, whispering something I couldn't hear. Let him explain. Let him squirm. Let the office gossip swirl. I got into my car, pulled out my phone, and blocked his number. Let the 67 missed calls stay missed. I didn't answer a single call after that. Not the missed calls, not the voicemails, not the messages that went from talk to us to you're acting childish to we're your family whether you like it or not. I turned off my phone for a week. No texts, no notifications, no venom disguised as concern. And for the first time in my life, the silence felt like peace, not punishment. I wasn't waking up with a pit in my stomach, wondering if today would be the day my dad would finally say something kind. I wasn't calculating how to earn approval from people who built their entire identity around tearing me down. I ate what I wanted, slept in, went to the gym, took a weekend trip to Santa Barbara. No schedule, no expectations, no fake dinners. I was alone but not lonely. By day 5, I opened my phone again, out of curiosity more than anything. 73 missed calls, 41% from my father, 12 from my mother, 8 from Todd, the rest unknown numbers, and 1 from my dad's work line again. I listened to one voicemail, just one. "Son, I know I screwed up. I know I've never been good with words, you know that, but I didn't mean it. You've got to believe me. Don't let this be the end of us. Please call me, I'm sorry." But I didn't call him back because I realized something. He wasn't sorry for what he said. He was sorry it finally had consequences. And yet, the moment that truly ripped the mask off came 2 weeks later when my mother showed up at my door. I opened it, half asleep, still in sweatpants and an old hoodie. She looked small, tired, holding a casserole dish like she thought we were still playing 1950s Family. "Hi," she said softly. "Can we talk?" I didn't answer, just moved aside and let her in. Not out of guilt, just curiosity. She set the dish down, sat on my couch like it was sacred, and started immediately. "Your father hasn't been the same." I didn't reply. "He hasn't eaten. He missed work. Lambert says he's thinking about retiring early. So now you're here," I said, "because he's finally spiraling and no one's there to clean it up." "No," she snapped, too quickly. "I'm here because you're his son, and when I was buying him gifts and paying his mortgage, that made me what? His credit card?" Her mouth opened, closed. She didn't have an answer. I leaned back. "You came to guilt me into forgiveness, not to understand." "I came because I love you," she said. "No," I corrected. "You came because I'm useful, or was. The moment I set boundaries, I became the villain." She wiped her eyes, like she couldn't believe this was happening, but I wasn't done. I gave him everything, time, money, respect, and all he gave back was mockery. "And now that I walked away, you want me to fix the damage you let him cause. You think it was easy for me?" she hissed suddenly. "Living with that man, watching him break you down while I tried to hold this family together? Oh, so now you were the silent martyr." I stood. "You sat at every dinner, heard every insult, laughed at every cruel joke, and not once did you say, 'Bill, stop.' You don't get to play innocent now." Her shoulders sagged. "I'm not here to defend him," she said. "I'm here to ask if there's a way back." "No," I said. "There's a way forward, but it doesn't include him dragging me backwards." She looked broken, and I didn't feel powerful. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt free. But the real breaking point came 1 week later. Another knock at the door. I opened it, and there he was, my father. His eyes were bloodshot, he'd lost weight, looked like someone had taken the arrogance and wrung it out of him. He didn't speak for a few seconds, then finally said, "I lost the tickets." I blinked. "What?" He pulled a crumpled envelope from his jacket. "I kept them in my drawer, even after you took them, like some part of me thought maybe if I said the right thing you'd give them back, but I lost them." "I don't care," I said. He nodded. "I know. I didn't come for those." Then he said something I never thought I'd hear. "I was a cruel man to you your whole life. I thought if I pushed you hard enough, mocked you just enough, you'd try harder, that you'd prove me wrong." I stared at him. "You think that's love?" "No," he whispered. "I think that was cowardice." He sank onto the step outside my door. "I don't know how to fix this. I don't even know if it can be fixed. But I want you to know I see it now. I see you, and I hate that it took losing you to get there." He reached into his coat, pulled out an old faded photo, me at 9 years old, holding a basketball in both hands, grinning with 2 missing teeth. "I keep this in my wallet," he said. I used to look at it and wonder what happened. Now I realize I happened. I didn't speak. I didn't cry. I just looked at him and said, "That boy deserved better." And I closed the door. A week after I shut the door on my father, the silence settled in like dust in an empty house. No more calls, no more visits, no more guilt masquerading as love. And still, I didn't miss them. I thought I would. I thought I'd lie awake, wondering if I was wrong. But I didn't, not once. Because for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the broken one. I felt like the only sane person who finally stepped out of a burning building and let it collapse without running back in. My therapist, yeah, I finally got one, asked me something during our first session. "Do you grieve the father you had or the father you wished you had?" I didn't even need to think. "The one I wished I had," I said, because the one I had, I never truly knew him. I only knew who I had to be to survive him. She nodded. "Then your grief is a rebirth." You bet it was. I spent the next few weeks building a new rhythm. No family dinners, no backhanded compliments, no last-minute favors with the expectation of silence in return. Instead, I poured into me. Work, gym, reading, rest. I bought a piano, even though I barely knew how to play, and took lessons like a stubborn beginner. I started hiking on Sundays alone, without telling anyone. No Instagram, no proof, just me and the world. I began writing again, journaling every thought I'd buried under "maybe next time Dad will be proud." And then something strange happened. Todd called. I let it go to voicemail, of course, but curiosity got me, and I played it later that night. "Hey, listen, I don't know how to say this, but I get it now. About Dad, about everything. I heard what happened at his work. I heard about what you said. I think I should have stood up for you that night." Pause. "He's not well, man. He won't say it, but Mom says he's not eating. Keeps staring at some photo of you as a kid. He quit Westfield last week. Just walked out. No plan, no goodbye." Pause again, longer this time. "I guess I'm just saying you were right. I was blind, and I'm sorry." I deleted the message, not out of spite, out of peace. Todd could wrestle with his awakening. That wasn't my battle anymore. But then came the last loose thread. My Uncle Tom, the one who whispered that dagger, "Luxury gifts don't make up for being a loser." He texted me 2 lines the next Friday. Didn't mean it like that. You know how I joke. "Come by this weekend. Family's asking about you." I didn't respond. Instead, I took a screenshot, printed it, folded it neatly, and slid it into an envelope. On the back, I wrote, "Luxury apologies don't make up for being a coward." Then I mailed it to him. No name, no return address, just a truth he couldn't laugh away. A week later, I got an unexpected message, not from any of them. It was a DM on LinkedIn from a woman named Natalie Holston. "Hi, you don't know me, but I used to work with your dad. He talked about you constantly, never in detail, but with this weird mix of bitterness and admiration. I just wanted to say what you did, taking back your power, that mattered. People noticed. I noticed. And you inspired me to finally cut ties with my own toxic family. So, thank you." I stared at it for a long time, not because I needed validation, but because that was the moment I knew I hadn't just saved myself. I'd lit a torch for someone else lost in the same dark. And just like that, the weight lifted. It's a warm Saturday morning now. I'm walking out of a coffee shop, sunglasses on, notebook in hand. I stop by a bookstore and buy a new journal. The barista slips me a note with her number. I smile but don't react. I'm not rushing. I'm not chasing approval. I'm not performing. I'm just being. And just as I step back into the sunlight, I hear a small voice from behind. A boy, about 10 years old, holding his dad's hand, pointing at a billboard above us. A Lakers finals promotion. "Dad, look! Someday we're going to go, right?" The father smiles and ruffles his son's hair. "One day, yeah, I'll get us there." I stop. My throat tightens for just a second, not from pain, but from the realization that I don't envy that boy anymore, because I became the man he wished his father would be. And that man is no longer desperate for anyone's seat at the table, because he built his own. Final thought, moral, I'm not angry anymore. I'm not waiting for the apology that will never come. I'm not haunted by the word "still a disappointment," because I know who I am, and I know what I'm not. I'm not your scapegoat, not your bank, not your punching bag. I'm not your son if that means being your victim. I'm my own man, and I'm finally free.